Well, hello everybody. You join me today for my review of the 2024 Mazda CX-90 plug-in hybrid. I've already gone at length talking about the new CX-90 with my signature review, where I've talked a lot more about the backstory, the interior-exterior design, and really the new direction that Mazda is going in. But here, I'm sure you clicked on this video specifically to find out more about this plug-in hybrid powertrain, which is a first for Mazda. But I was expecting that with Toyota in the past few years now taking a minority ownership in Mazda's holdings, that the powertrain in this product would have just been taken out of some other Toyota Prime PHEV product. But from behind the wheel and actually looking in the engine bay, you can see there's some stampings on the engine of the Mazda logo and a couple other places, leads me to think that this really is Mazda's own component, Mazda's own software, and Mazda's own decision making. And we're going to go into what's good about that and maybe not so good about that. But first, let's start with the figures. Combined, this 2.5 litre four-cylinder engine that's longitudinally mounted and an 18.8 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack with an electric motor in between the engine and the 8-speed transmission makes 323 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. According to the Government of Canada, you can go 42 kilometers on a full charge with the battery pack. And in my experience, pumping the AC, just doing regular day-to-day driving, not even really considering being precious to the electrical range, I think it can quite easily make that number. When it comes to the variability of the setup of this powertrain, this is one of the major aspects that differ from a Toyota product, because when you get in here, you really only have two ways readily at hand to change how this product feels. You have the charge button, which by pressing that, you are going to always have the engine running as a generator to put electricity into the battery pack. Or with the drive selector, you can go from sport, normal, EV, and off-road. There is no high regen braking mode with the gear selector. You can't use the paddles behind the steering wheel to add or take away that intensity. If you want to change that, you have to go a little bit deep into the system menus to switch between normal or high regenerative braking. And I've been spending all my time in high, and the differences between the two modes is very minor. It feels like the difference between a normal rolling resistance tire and a higher rolling resistance tire. I don't think many people will notice, and I'm sure that was an intentional Mazda decision. They, as we've all been told throughout all of their different products, care about the driver. They care about the consistency of the driving experience, and that is one way to keep it consistent. But if you want to feel like you're really maximizing the energy put back into the battery pack under braking, or just being a little more involved with that aspect of driving, the Mazda CX-90 plug-in hybrid might not suit your tastes. Brake feel in this Mazda feels just like any other normal car. It doesn't feel at all hybridized, and maybe that was the big point, that something that you depend on quite often in a car just always acts and feels the same. So maybe that was the decision made towards regenerative braking. I obviously wasn't in the room at the time to know that for sure, but I will say that the powertrain is excellent. 323 horsepower is more than enough, and I quite like how when you select EV mode, even if you stamp your foot on the throttle and you activate that kick down button, that little kind of tick of resistance that's in the last 5% of the pedal, you feel like you're still getting maximum power. And if you have enough charge in the pack, the engine will not turn on. There's been a lot of occasions where I have been driving and the battery pack is reading as empty, but if you're going down a hill, it'll still engage EV mode. If you're coming to a stop at a set of lights, it will still turn the engine off. So it's clear this system has capability, but as I said earlier, with decisions made, Mazda is taking a little bit of a different approach to their plug-in hybrid style, and that might or might not win favors with the people that go out and buy this product. Comparing this powertrain to the 3.3 litre straight six is clearly unfair, but I do have to note that where I was noticing some hiccups with the transmission from time to time, I've noticed it more in this, and they just feel a little bit more pronounced. Not the end of the world, but not a seamless driving experience. It is seamless when the engine starts up or turns off, but I am fully aware that this is a new powertrain, a new gearbox, a whole new product for Mazda, and this is a first model year product. So hopefully that is something that they can address and they can fix in the years to come. We're in the GSL trim, which is the mid-spec here in Canada for the plug-in hybrid model, and at this price it is fairly similar to the Signature that I recently got out of, and you can't compare the interiors, of course, but it is clear that Mazda hasn't put as much sound deadening in this car as they did the Signature. It's a little bit noisier on the highway, not enough to upset anybody, but where I said that driving experience felt a lot like a BMW in the CX-90 Signature, not quite getting it here in this product. There's a fair amount more hard plastics, and there's more cloth and all that, but I know I'm not comparing apples to apples, so really that doesn't matter. What does matter is that the build quality here still feels fantastic, remarkably rigid, and everything works without fault. Mazda claims that the interior storage space between the normal 3.3 litre straight six and this hybrid model is exactly the same. That's good to know, and you'll see that when you lift up the false floor, you have a little bit of space where you can throw in your charging cable included in this product, and underneath that, a space saver spare wheel. You'll often see a lot of hybrids ditch that for the space of the batteries, but because the plug-in hybrid was planned from day one in this model, the batteries are underneath the floor here between the first and second row seats. And final note on seating, you can get this product as a 6, 7 or 8 seater, but the hybrid model is 8 or 7 only. And with the 7 you get this dinky little kind of cup holder tray that would be good for a small, light, crushable water bottle. Definitely do not put coffee or some other kind of hot product in there. It will not end well. So those are my thoughts towards the Mazda CX-90 plug-in hybrid. For my money, in truth, I would be going for a higher spec model of the 3.3 litre straight six. There's just a couple of rough edges with the driving experience, and maybe some more choices that I want to see added into this plug-in hybrid that stops me from wanting to consider purchasing it for myself. But if you want a little bit more of a hands-off approach when it comes to plug-in hybrid driving, and if you want a Mazda with some proper usable daily commuting EV range, this is a product you should not overlook. So thank you very much for taking the time to watching this video, and like I said, if you're not satisfied with some of the information you've received in this video, good chance it's in my CX-90 Signature review. So thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you again on the channel soon.